There's a strange kind of silence that comes after people realize they were wrong about you. Not the loud kind, not the dramatic kind. I mean that quiet shift in a room when the same people who used to laugh every time you spoke suddenly start choosing their words more carefully. The same people who called you too sensitive, too intense, too difficult, too much. Now they're sitting there confused because the very thing they mocked you for is the same thing that ended up exposing them. And that kind of moment changes you. Because when people mock your mind, they're usually not mocking your thoughts. They're mocking the fact that you noticed something they wanted to hide. That's what most people don't understand. A lot of the time, they don't laugh at you because you're wrong. They laugh because you're seeing through something they hoped nobody would question. Some of you know exactly what I mean. You've been in those conversations where somebody says something slick, fake, passive-aggressive, and everybody else just lets it slide. But you feel it. You hear the disrespect underneath the joke. You catch the contradiction in the story. You notice the manipulation in the tone. And the moment you react, suddenly, you're the problem. Now you're overthinking. Now you're making it weird. Now you're too deep. Now you need help. Funny how fast people hand you a diagnosis when your awareness starts making them uncomfortable. A lot of people don't want honesty. They want comfort. They want easy. They want the version of you that smiles, nods, lets things pass, and keeps the peace while slowly dying inside. The moment you stop doing that, they start acting like something is wrong with your mind. I've seen that happen in families. I've seen it happen in relationships. I've seen it happen in workplaces where the most unhealthy person in the room gets protected just because they know how to perform normal better than everybody else. That's the part nobody talks about. Sometimes the person being blamed is just the one who stopped pretending. And if you've ever been that person, then you already know how lonely that feels. You sit there replaying conversations in your head, not because you're dramatic, but because something in you knows it wasn't right. You start questioning your own instincts. You wonder if maybe you are too sensitive, maybe you are overreacting, maybe you do need to calm down, maybe it's your fault that everything keeps turning tense when you speak. So you get quieter. You start editing yourself before you talk. You start swallowing things you know you should say. You laugh at stuff that doesn't feel funny. You downplay what hurt you because you don't want to be seen as difficult again. You become easier to digest for people who were never trying to understand you in the first place. And that's where a lot of damage begins. Not when they mocked you, when you started helping them do it, when you started joining in against yourself, when you started saying, maybe I'm just crazy, just so everybody could relax. That line right there has destroyed more people than open hate ever could. Because open hate is obvious. You can fight that. You can name it. You can leave it. But subtle dismissal, constant mislabeling, being slowly trained to distrust your own mind, that does something deeper, that gets under your skin, that makes you feel like you need permission to believe what you clearly saw. And one of the darkest moments in life is when you finally go to someone for help, someone neutral, someone trained, someone who isn't wrapped up in your personal history, and even they start looking at your story like, no, you're not the crazy one here. That moment will shake you, because part of you goes in expecting to be corrected. You go in thinking they'll tell you what everybody else told you. Be less reactive. Lower your expectations. Stop taking things so personally. Learn to let things go. But instead they start asking different questions. Who taught you to doubt yourself that quickly? Why do you apologize before you explain your own pain? Why do you assume everyone else's discomfort matters more than your own reality? Why have you spent so much time trying to sound reasonable to people who were committed to misunderstanding you? And now the room gets real quiet. Because for the first time, someone isn't studying your reaction. They're studying what happened to you. That hits different, because a lot of you were never broken. You were surrounded by people who benefited from you thinking you were. That's a brutal truth. But it's also a freeing one. You start remembering things differently after that. Not in a fake victim way, not in a dramatic rewrite, just honestly. You start looking back at moments that used to confuse you, and they begin to make sense. That ex who kept telling you that you were impossible to talk to, but somehow every conversation ended with you apologizing for things you didn't even do. That friend who called you exhausting every time you asked for basic consistency. That parent who told you that you were disrespectful every time you had an independent thought. That boss who said you weren't a team player because you didn't laugh along with the dysfunction. You start seeing the pattern. It was never that your mind was too much. Your mind was inconvenient. You noticed too much. You remembered too much. You asked one too many real questions. You reacted to things people wanted normalized. And when people can't control what you see, they often try to control how you see yourself. That's why so many sharp, emotionally intelligent people walk around carrying shame that doesn't belong to them. Because they've been punished for perception, not for cruelty, not for arrogance, not for madness, for perception, for saying, no, something about this feels off. And let me tell you something that takes some people years to understand. Being repeatedly invalidated will make even a stable person start sounding unstable. Of course, you became exhausted. Of course, your emotions got messy. Of course, your tone changed. Of course, you started spiraling sometimes. You were living inside confusion on purpose. You were being taught to distrust your own internal alarm system. Anybody would start unraveling under that long enough. That doesn't mean everything you felt was perfect. It doesn't mean every reaction you had was flawless. Pain can make people chaotic. Survival can make people hard to understand. But that still doesn't mean the core of what you sensed was false. Sometimes the reaction is messy because the environment has been dishonest for too long. That's a different conversation. And this is where real growth begins. Not when you become louder than everyone else. Not when you become cold. Not when you suddenly turn into some untouchable machine. But when you stop needing the people who hurt you to agree with your version of reality before you allow yourself to heal. That's power. A quiet kind of power. The kind where you no longer waste 3 days trying to explain your nervous system to somebody who only listens when it benefits them. The kind where you stop over-explaining your boundaries like you're in a courtroom. The kind where you don't panic every time someone misunderstands you. The kind where you can sit with your own thoughts without instantly assuming they're wrong. A lot of people think healing looks soft and pretty and graceful. Sometimes healing looks like finally admitting, no, I wasn't imagining it. Sometimes healing looks like grieving how long you abandoned yourself just to stay accepted. Sometimes healing looks like realizing you were called difficult because you stopped volunteering to be disrespected. That realization will make you angry for a while. It should. Not blind rage, not revenge, just a clean anger. The kind that clears the fog. The kind that helps you say, I need to stop handing microphones to people who built their comfort on top of my self-doubt. That anger can save your life if you use it right. Not by turning you bitter, by making you honest. Honest about the fact that some people only liked you when you were easier to bend. Honest about the fact that confusion became normal because chaos was familiar. Honest about the fact that being misunderstood for years can make peace feel suspicious at first. That last one is real. When you've spent enough time around people who twist everything, calm can feel fake. You start waiting for the catch. You start scanning for hidden meaning in every sentence. You start bracing even when nobody is attacking you. And that's why healing is not just about leaving certain people. It's about retraining your body to believe that clarity is safe. That takes time. It takes catching yourself before you over-explain. It takes noticing when you're defending yourself against accusations nobody even made. It takes learning how to pause before automatically assuming you've done something wrong. It takes paying attention to how your body reacts around certain people. Because your mind might still be trying to be fair, but your body usually knows faster. Some of the biggest lessons in life are not loud. They're simple. Pay attention to who gets irritated when you become clearer. Pay attention to who needs you confused in order to stay comfortable. Pay attention to who only respects your boundaries after somebody with credentials says the exact same thing you've been saying for years. That one is dark, because sometimes the people around you will ignore your pain until an outsider validates it. Suddenly they want to act confused. Suddenly they say, "We didn't know it was that serious." Suddenly they start being nicer, more careful, more measured, and a part of you wants to feel vindicated, but another part of you just feels tired, because deep down, you know what hurts isn't just that they were wrong. It's that they needed a professional to believe your humanity before they would. That kind of pain leaves a mark, but it can also wake you up. It can teach you that some people are not safe interpreters of your life. It can teach you that not every opinion deserves equal weight. It can teach you that being doubted by the wrong people is not evidence against you. That changes how you move. You stop entering every conversation like you're there to prove your sanity. You stop begging emotionally immature people to understand emotionally complex damage. You stop translating your pain into language soft enough for everybody else's comfort. And slowly, you begin to trust something again. Not them. You. Your pause. Your instinct. Your discomfort. Your clarity. Your memory. Your ability to notice. That doesn't mean you never question yourself again. It just means self-reflection stops turning into self-erasure. There's a difference. Strong people reflect. Broken people get trained to disappear. A lot of you were taught that those two things were the same. They're not. Real self-awareness does not require self-betrayal. You can be accountable without becoming a punching bag. You can be compassionate without becoming easy to manipulate. You can be open-minded without treating every red flag like a misunderstanding. You can heal without making excuses